I like 120 as a film format, and I quite like folding cameras because they can produce really good results. And I'm particularly fond of the Zeiss and Voigtlander folding cameras, and of course Ensign. Now the camera I'm looking at today is another folding camera. I have had a similar video on one of these cameras I've got with a slightly different lens, but I'm going to look today at the Agifold Mark III. And AGI were a military and optical company who still are in business, but they now do security optical devices and I think surveillance devices, and they have nothing to do with cameras at all. But after the Second World War, AGI made range of quite good cameras, and they started some folding cameras in the 1940s, and this was the Mark III, and it's called an Agifold, and it's from about 1952, and it's got all sorts of interesting facts about it and interest, I think. First of all is you can see from the design, it folds out from the front here, and it's got quite an Art Deco look. To load the film, you open it in the back here. And this is a slightly strange thing, as you can see. There's not a hinge, although this wasn't unusual in these days, but the whole back comes off. And the film, you can see I've done a film there, and it goes over there. I've yet to develop this film, so who knows if it's going to come out or not. So I'm going to put the back on by slotting it in there and closing it. Now, you can probably see by the fact we've got a viewfinder and other window here, it's got a rangefinder. And a rangefinder enables you to look through the viewfinder and you will see a double image, and you alter this dial here until it tells you the measurement. So I hope here you can see here a range of measurements. So you alter the dial until you get the two images. You will see a double image, and when the two images come together, then you've got the correct focus. So, but it's uncoupled, which means you find your distance there, then you have to set your distance on the lens here. We've also got quite an interesting exposure meter, and it's what is called a extinction meter, and I find them a little bit hit and miss. It's not a ceiling meter, it's a meter, I say a meter, it's basically a range of numbers, and you can see these numbers, and you take the brightest number and you set on here the brightest number. They are not easy things to use, but this camera was, I think, trying to be very progressive, that we had a rangefinder, we've got a form of light meter, we've got shutter speeds up to 350, and we've got a lens which will do 4.5, and 4.5 for medium format at this stage in the early 50s was considered to be a fast lens. So if we're taking a photograph, we would do the exposure here, we would do the rangefinder, we would then set our shutter speed, our aperture and our focus. To set the shutter, it's a bit fiddly, I find, but the setting of the shutter is here, and you've got to move it round like that, and then it will fire. These were sometimes slightly criticised for their shutters not being as reliable as perhaps some other nationality of shutter, and I have found that sometimes they are a little bit unreliable. But It's a nice looking camera. Let's see if the film came out. This summer hasn't been the brightest of summers, and these photographs were taken on a particularly dull evening in August. However, I've taken these photographs at a place called Wall in Dorset, and it has a mixture of architecture styles. It has some pretty cottages. It's also got some quite mundane functional buildings, as in you can see this one here. But it was a good test for the camera, and I was really pleased. Here we have a finger post, and it's very much in focus. You can read where the place names are and the mileages. This camera operated actually far better than I thought it was going to be. I have used one of these before, and I thought the lens was a bit soft. Now, the lens is absolutely fine on this. I was, as you can see, very pleased with it. Good definition, good range of tones, considering it's such a great day. The images... I actually developed these in the darkroom and then scanned them. I normally just do a straight scan, but I'm back into using the darkroom quite a lot and enjoying actually doing popper prints, as I will call them. And it's fascinating to see that out of you get 12 on a film, and actually 10 of these were quite printable. As I said, the camera was easy to use. I think the rangefinder might be out slightly. I didn't actually completely agree with the rangefinder all the time. But I reckon that should be quite a straightforward job to realign. This is a family bakers that unfortunately have just stopped baking. They were going for years and years and were a terrific baker in Dorset. And you can see the Williams shop here, which I think has sadly now closed, but it was going for a long time and made fantastic bread, especially the Dorset lardy cake. So this film it's a former film developed in ID11, and the paper I printed on was multigrade 4. Not my favourite paper, but a good photographic paper. And I'll be talking more about printing in a future episode. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.